Hi, everyone. Welcome to Geo4Good. If you don't know me already, I'm Raleigh Seamster. You've been getting lots of emails from me. Hopefully you know who I am by now, but here's the face to put to the name. So I'm a Google Earth Outreach Program Manager, and I'm the lead organizer for the Geo4Good Summit, and have been doing this since 2012, our very first summit. To all of you who are familiar faces, welcome back. To all of you who are new, I look forward to getting to know you this week. I just really wanted to come out here and say welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for traveling to be here. And I also, before we begin, I also wanted to give a land acknowledgement. So today we're gathered in Mountain View, and I acknowledge and honor the past, present, and future Ohlone peoples who are the original inhabitants of the Bay Area. Many of you here today are representing Indigenous nations or working with Indigenous nations to support Indigenous land rights and inclusion and mapping efforts. And I am really looking forward to learning more about your projects in the talks coming later this week. I also wanted to thank 3 Indigenous technologists who really inspire me, who are going to be leading a breakout session discussion, Indigenizing Maps, later this week. And I really encourage you all to attend that session, to listen, share, and learn more about what you can do to support Indigenous peoples and their inclusion in the geospatial community. So with that, I want to now introduce our keynote speaker today, Rebecca Moore. Our Geo4Good director, Rebecca Moore, directs Google's geospatial initiatives for planetary sustainability and human resilience, including Google Earth, Earth Engine, Environmental Insights Explorers, and the outreach team. Let's welcome Rebecca to the stage.
Hello, Geo4Good. Yeah. Welcome to our 12th annual Geo4Good. Some of you have been here from the very beginning. I'm just curious. This is our 12th annual. The first one was in 2012. You can see how it's grown over the years. And I'm just curious, were any of you here at the very first one? Woo! And you're still coming back, so that's good. I bumped into one of you yesterday, Charles, and he's come to every single one for 12 years, so that's commitment. I'm just curious, who was here last year in 2022? Great, that's great. So we have a lot of new stuff to talk to you about. It's been a super busy year, so it's going to be worth it that you came back, not just for the new material that we're going to share, but we have learned over the years that one of the most valuable things, besides the food, we know you all come for the food, but is the networking, right, that you get to do with each other. And the projects and ideas, the partnerships that are born here are one of the most exciting things for us to witness. So hope to see that again this year. This is you. This is where you have come from all over the world to be here together. We were going to try to figure out who was the farthest. Maybe that could be a sort of exercise for the reader this week. Who came the farthest? But thank you again. I know many of you have traveled a long way. Thank you for making that travel here, and it's going to be worth it. All right, so, we have to start with a little bit of depressing news, because if the world were perfect, we'd all be sitting on the beach or something, right? We'd be doing something different. But as we know, the climate is changing, biodiversity is disappearing. I just read a thing about the Amazon getting really close to another dangerous tipping point. I didn't even put that slide in here because it bothers me so much. We're hitting heat records, temperature records. This year was the hottest on record. So that's a backdrop underlying the seriousness of the work that we're all doing together. But maybe I'm a little Pollyanna, but it seems that the world is mobilizing. All sectors are mobilizing. And for example, the EUDR, the European Deforestation Regulation, to hold companies that sell products in the European Union to prove that their supply chain is deforestation-free by next year, the end of next year. This is an amazing regulatory approach that we're encouraged to see. The fact that more than 190 countries gathered in Montreal last December and agreed to the 30 by 30 target and an overall global biodiversity framework that's being called the Paris Accord for Nature. People were not certain it was going to happen. This is super encouraging. Methane is one of the most potent greenhouse gases, most urgent for us to reduce as quickly as possible. The world is mobilizing around this with a global methane watch and a pledge, pledges from countries around the world. And you're mobilizing. You have for years, and you're, it feels like it's building momentum. For those of you who were here last year, you remember we introduced what we call our pizza slices of the 5 sectors working, leveraging technology to make a difference on these issues, from indigenous people and local communities, governments and private sector, companies, or governments and public companies and private sector, nonprofits and civil society, and a lot of it starting with science and academia, figuring out new models, methodologies, data sets to support these other groups in driving change. We really believe our theory of change is not to focus on any one group, but to try to elevate everyone with common collaborative tools and data so that you can easily or more easily go from science to policy to action by linking these groups. And so you're all here. There are 350 of you here. You can see the breakdown, how you self-identified of participation. So that's something to be aware of. So for us, we've been on this journey, I just reached my 18th Googleversary, it's called. I joined, This isn't about me, but I will say that I joined Google in 2005 after using Google Earth to stop the logging of 1,000 acres of redwood trees in my community in the Santa Cruz Mountains. And we've been on this journey ever since, and now we have a really fantastic team and partnerships across Google and around the world working together to leverage technology for these issues. And we're trying to get more focused on, it's not about the technology, it's not about the data, it's about driving that real world impact and how can we be more focused on that. So we've, over the last year, developed this framework just internally that we call, conveniently, MAP. Mitigation, adaptation, and environmental protection. These are the 3 pillars that we are focusing on in terms of the technology we're building, the partnerships we're forming, the outcomes we're hoping to see in the world, where mitigation is obviously about reducing greenhouse gas emissions, ultimately to lower global temperature rise and extreme weather events and so on. Adaptation is about helping communities adapt to the changes that are already happening. And environmental protection, such as, for example, the 30 by 30 initiative, focusing on protecting the habitats of the most critical, endangered terrestrial and marine biodiversity. So you might have noticed for the first time this year, we asked you, when people applied, what is your area of impact? And some of you had more than one, which is great. As we know, there are co-benefits of many actions that people take may drive both, for example, nature-based solutions may drive both carbon emission reduction and protection. So we asked you your area of impact, and we asked you, what does your project do? So again, the areas of impact, CO2 emission reduction. We asked you the number of people helped. We're trying to come up with metrics. And the areas of land and ocean conserved or protected. And by the way, I want to say at the outset that it's a little uncomfortable to try to pick 3 numbers like this and be like, okay, that's what we're focusing on. Because we know that's not perfect. There are many positive actions that you guys are driving, that are happening in the world, that you can't necessarily causally link to these things. But although imperfect, we think these are good overall general targets that much of the work you guys are doing is laddering up to. And again, are you creating a data set or method? Are you creating a solution? Are you making decisions or taking action on the ground? Or more than one of those? And what we found from what you told us, you're doing a lot of great stuff. Almost 300 of you are working in protection. Almost 250 of you are working in adaptation. More than 200 of you are working on emission mitigation. And then really loved to see how you were doing it. Seems like all of you are creating a data set or method. A ton of you, 2/3 or so, are actually creating a targeted solution. And then, almost 150 of you are actually in the position to make decisions and take action on the ground. So this was really encouraging to us. So what I wanted to do is highlight for you just really quickly, I'm going to kind of lightning round through a few of the projects you told us about. Almost every single one of these has the project leader or spokesperson here at Geo4Good. Many of them will be giving lightning rounds, plenary talks, participating in panels. So I'm going to go quickly, but you're going to be able to hear about more of these later. And again, these are examples. So Oromia Environmental Protection Authority has done a RED project in Tanzania using Earth and Earth Engine, laddering up to almost 2 megatons of carbon emission reduction that they've submitted for jurisdictional RED, and I believe they've already received compensation for that. EPOM, the Amazon Environmental Research Institute, has worked with MAP Biomas and developed a SAGE, Sistema de Alerta de Desmatamento, for their area to monitor deforestation at a monthly level and inform policy, laddering up to 178 tons of emissions reduced per hectare. These are self-reported, I want to say. We have not independently verified, but they passed the sniff test. Let me put it that way. Restore. They are doing projects all over the world on restoration. I think more than 100,000, supporting more than 100,000 projects using Earth Engine, sharing biodiversity, carbon, water data with the land managers developing those restoration projects. They're tracking the carbon impact of that, and they reported 5.6 megatons to date in carbon sequestration. Nature Conservancy, talk about scale, using Earth Engine for monitoring conservation decisions across 6.7 million hectares in this particular ecosystem alone. The Firelight Group, I think they've been coming here for years, doing really good work with Indigenous communities in Canada to protect, manage, and restore 100 square kilometers of Indigenous lands in Canada. The Mar Elephant Project, Jake Wall, he's another long-timer for Geo4Good, using Earth Engine to monitor and study more than 2,000 elephants. They have these massive satellite trackers collars on these elephants. It's amazing what they're able to do with that technology. And this is in the Greater Mara ecosystem, 8,000 square kilometers that they're monitoring. Arctic Elder Society, surveying and monitoring 3.3 million hectares of protected land in this protected area in the north. Blue Ventures, using Earth Engine to monitor more than 6,000 hectares of mangroves. I don't know that I can pronounce this, but you can read it. I don't want to mispronounce. U.S. Forest Service, I can pronounce that. Using Earth Engine to monitor landscape change for 3 million square kilometers of U.S. forest lands. So continental scale monitoring. And again, you're going to hear from virtually all of these folks with more information. But we're just very excited by the work they're doing. UNEP WCMC, World Conservation Monitoring Center, they're the custodian, the global custodian for protected area data, sort of the base map for environmental protection in 30 by 30. They're using Earth Engine to help countries develop their 30 by 30 plans. And some really interesting work on the Ecosystem Integrity Index for monitoring effectiveness of protection that, yeah, we're very excited about. So Dynamic World we launched last year, and it was really great. This is very hot off the presses. WRI worked with RCMRD and Kenya Forest Service to test the use of Dynamic World for different land management projects. And the winner was this Kenya Forest Service project. That's the team. And it's a very hopeful story, because what they were able to do using Dynamic World and Earth Engine establish, and you can see here before and after, the actual restoration in the Masai Mara Forest Complex that took place where cropland ended up recovering to forest. And you could see this in Dynamic World. And this was as a result of a change in government policy. So that's a kind of whirlwind. You're all doing amazing stuff, right? And as I was thinking about, I always get excited. Our whole team gets so excited to be able to hang out with you. I wish we could do it like every month, but anyway, I'm glad we could do it once a year. And reflecting on the fact that it's a dark time in many ways. It's easy to get depressed or feel hopeless or powerless. But then I just love this quote from Eleanor Roosevelt that it's, better to light a candle than curse the darkness. And even if it's a small candle, even if it's like 1 hectare, even if it's, a small scale, like we're all doing what we can, and it adds up. And so we put together a little visualization showing how you guys are bringing light to the darkness. Can we roll it? This should look familiar. It's called Google Earth. So these are where some of you are doing projects, bringing light, bringing light to places that there's often been poor information. And so with this is a subset of you that, again, are all here and allowing me to announce that we're introducing a new program to recognize the work that you're doing that we're calling the Geo4Good' Impact Awards. And these are the first 35 winners. So can we give a little applause? So how were they chosen? They were chosen based on the information they submitted and how that aligned with, MAP impact, credibility of what they were doing, the quality of the work, how important Earth and Earth Engine were to their results. And that enabled us to select that first cohort of 35. We're announcing that we want to expand this, and starting today, you can apply for this impact award. Here is the URL to go to, where you'll present your information, and you get a digital badge. You get a few things. Over time, we are hoping to expand what we can do for those organizations. But even right now, it will include a fun digital badge. We'll feature you on our Google Earth Outreach website, a case study about you, and hopefully more to come. So please, I think we have 30 days by November 10th. If you apply, you will be eligible for our 2023 selection. But it's going to be ongoing. All right. And if you have questions about any of this, our team can help answer them. All right, so stepping back, really we're focusing for our team and for what we're covering this conference or the summit, these three products, Earth, Earth Engine, and a new one, the Google Maps Platform Environmental APIs, that are focused as data platforms, geospatial platforms, to enable sustainability impact at local scale and global scale. We're going to go deeper in each of them. You're going to get an update. Right after I speak, you're going to get an update from each of those three teams. But I want to also give just a teaser about one thing maybe that I'm super excited about that I want to call out for you. Make sure you know. If you take away nothing else about those product talks, you should take this away. So for example, we recently introduced the next evolution of Google Earth. It's technically Earth version 10. It was built on a new tech stack called Flutter. You'll hear about that. The whole user interface has been optimized for productivity, for getting real work done. We see how people love our 18-year-old Google Earth Pro, and it's still being used for incredible work. And there's some stuff in there that we want to make sure we bring in to a modern platform. So Earth 10 is the beginning of support for that. It also includes a new generative design tool for creating more sustainable buildings that is called Delve. And there's a preview that is available. Now, one of the things that we learned, when people send feedback in about Google Earth, what do you think? Here's a pop quiz. The number one thing they ask for. Go to the head of the class, whoever said that. Yes. They want fresh imagery. They want higher resolution imagery. They're like, we love everything about it, but we can't use it because the imagery is 5 years old. And this, we've really seen a theme the last few years. When we talk to partners, we're realizing they're increasingly using Google Earth and Google Earth Engine as a digital ground truth. It was literally told by an environmental ministry. They call it Google truthing. Instead of going to the ground, they go to Google Earth first, looking at historical imagery, and they can derive a lot of information in there that's helpful, and then Earth Engine for the analytics. But this all relies on having high-quality imagery. So we did an experiment over the last couple months. Once we knew who was coming to this, we went to see, and some of you described your project areas in enough detail that we could go look and see how crummy is our imagery there right now. And in fact, we discovered a number of these places where it was old, it was lower resolution, maybe it was 30 meter, and now people expect everything to be 30 centimeter. And so we accelerated updating those areas with 30 centimeter imagery. So here's a before and after. Here's one in a spot in Mali. That's a before and after. Here's a before in a protected area in Mexico. Here's the after. Again, the after is all 30 centimeter, relatively fresh, like in the last year. Here's an area in Mongolia. You can see it's low resolution, right? 30. You can see what a difference it can make if you're trying to develop insights about what's happening on the ground. Here is an area in Canada, again, lower resolution. You also sometimes see change. So this one was really beautiful to me, seeing the specific, the resolution increase and the changes that were visible. Here's an area in Guinea. And this one you could see not only higher resolution, but also change. So we're doing a thing here that is just for you only. Yes. Over the years, if you knew someone on my team, you'd be like, hey, could you like accelerate, like, could you get my area? We never had a program around it. Now we do, but just for you, we're piloting a program where you can request, this is not imagery in Earth Engine for analysis yet, but we're starting with Google Earth base map imagery update for your area. Here's the link where you can go request. Do not share it with all your friends, because really, this is not free for us, right? So we're trying to manage and give it to you guys first, see how it works. But you can go there, and it's not just a tiny amount. I think we say it could be more than 100 square kilometers. It could be, if it's more than 1,000 square kilometers, we're like, could you focus a little bit better? We can't give you all of Africa or an entire country, or, So you need to be focused on what you need, but please, we're serious about this. Every single one of you can request an imagery update, 30 centimeter high resolution imagery for your area. Woo! I should speed up a little bit here because I get so excited and I want to tell you every detail. All right, here's another area. I'm going to go a little bit deep, but it is in the same spirit, and you're going to learn more about these things from the people that are really building all this. But this is something I'm very excited about in the same spirit of seeing the world clearly, seeing the world in fresh, high-resolution imagery. On the Earth Engine side, the version of this that is so challenging for remote sensing folks is cloudy data. So the team has been working really hard on a new methodology that uses AI to create a new way to score the clarity of every single Sentinel-2 pixel. It's groundbreaking in a lot of ways because it's not just clouds, but it's clouds, it's shadows, it's any sort of artifacts, atmospheric artifacts, that prevent that pixel from being clear. And it gives you a score, so then it makes it easy. Some of you are really masters at making composites. It makes it really easy for you to flexibly make high-quality, cloud-free composites. So it's called CloudScore Plus, launching today in the Earth Engine data catalog. You'll learn all about it in a separate session. It's being run on all Sentinel-2 data as it comes in, and we have done we've done the back catalog through all of 2022, so you can do at least a full year, and we'll keep working on the back catalog. So what are we talking about here? This is Easter Island, right? A typical image of Easter Island. June 5th. Okay, Sentinel-2 image, June 5th. Clouds, shadows. This is the CloudScore Plus mask. You can see that color ramp on the side. From 0 to 0.6 identifies it as unclear in some way. I'm sure the team will yell at me for putting it that way, but cloud, shadow, not a clear pixel. Basically, over 0.6, between 0.6 and 1, you got a clear pixel. But this is what that image looks like. Here's the next Sentinel image on June 10th last year. This is the Cloud Score Plus. This is a visualization of the Cloud Score Plus evaluation of every pixel in that image. Here is June 15th. Here is the Cloud Score Plus evaluation. So there were 6 images taken of Easter Island by Sentinel-2 in June. A lot of clouds, but the clouds move around. And so when you apply the Cloud Score Plus algorithm, what you see in black is masking out the cloudy pixels and revealing the clear pixels. That is now teed up for you to make a composite that looks like this. Now you can all do this. I think it's like 1 line or 2 lines of Earth Engine script to be able to say, I want a 30-day median over this period of time using Cloud Score. So we're super excited because you need clear imagery to work with, and you shouldn't have to mess around with clouds and shadows. All right. And we have it for the whole world, right? We have it for the whole world, all the Sentinel-2 data globally going forward, and as I said, back through 2022, and we'll keep going through the back catalog so you can make those mosaics going, those composites going backwards. But it's beautiful. I mean, look what it, yeah, okay. All right, almost done here. The third area we're going to talk about today is Google Maps platform. See, one of the things we like to do at Google is just invade and bring environmental sensibility everywhere, right, to products that didn't have it before. And what's been really exciting is the Maps platform team, Maps API, has typically had, they've had routing in a places API and so on, but they haven't had environmental APIs. Well, now they do. This was just announced in August. The first 3 are air quality, pollen, and solar. There's a lot of excitement. We're going to be teaching those APIs here this week. There will be more to come. So you'll hear more about this. We're super excited. And yeah, last couple points. How many of you were, let me just ask, well, I'll say something first. We are so excited, this textbook, Cloud-Based Remote Sensing with Google Earth Engine, it's the first textbook about Earth Engine. It is beautifully put together and written. It gives a foundation from 0 to 60 of what you need to know to use Earth Engine, and then a series of applications that are very inspiring. They all come with code samples, so it allows you to be hands-on and productive very quickly, and it was authored by the community. I just want to see, is anyone here one of the contributors to this book? Okay, 1, 2, yes. Thank you so much. It's such a contribution. It's open access. It was just, it's a version of it was live for a few months, but now it's officially published by Springer Press, and these links will take you to the site and to the PDF, which is freely available. All right. This is my team calls this the eat your Wheaties slide, right? Because we get very positive feedback at the end of, Geo4Good, but everybody says they're exhausted, right? Because they're excited, they're pumped, and they're really tired. So we like to say, really eat your Wheaties. We're going to have 62 speakers from across the community, which is one of the most exciting things for us, and I think for you, to hear what people are really doing with these tools, for you to get inspired, maybe form partnerships and so on. 35 technical sessions where we're going to train you on the new stuff. We have demo stations that'll be available during cocktail hour every day, which I highly encourage. And then we're having tracks this year, applied solution tracks on day 3 that target these more specific areas where there's a lot of activity by the community, and we see it driving mitigation, adaptation, and protection. All right, so with that, I want to, again, welcome you to Geo4Good. Thank you again for coming. I hope you have a great summit. I know you'll have a great summit. And now I'd like to bring out Matt Hancher. So Matt Hancher is also a longtime Googler. Let's see, his Googleversary would be, we hired him from NASA in 2009, so you can do the math. He is our engineering director for these products. So he's a good person for you to know. Let me just put it that way. And he's going to MC our session where we go through the product updates. Thanks again, and have a great summit.